Well, it's Monday morning, and CNBC website showing the Dow is down almost 1,000 points. The sell-off continues, exactly as I said the other day. It's not a ride straight down. There are relief rallies and retracements and stuff. But basically, this is a bricked market until Trump steps away from the tariff idea. Until he really steps away from this whole idea, which has cost our economy 11 or 12 trillion dollars since January. That's a lot of money. Maybe you're not feeling it directly, but some people in your community are, you know. This notion that stocks are only held by 8% of Americans is just not true. It's an untrue factoid. It's closer to 60% of people have direct exposure through their 401ks and retirement plans and stuff. But your local bar, if nobody has the money to buy drinks, they close up shop. And long before that, they lay people off they don't absolutely need. And then those people don't go shopping over the weekend. They stay at home and save their money. And it becomes this feedback loop of scarcity and totally an unforced error, right? The trajectory that we were on as a civilization was one of AI superabundance. I don't think it was coming tomorrow, but we were on that track. And you could argue that the rollout of all that stuff it's unfair, and that the people at the top who are Microsoft or Nvidia shareholders, they make the lion's share of money. Sure, that's true at the beginning, but eventually, a rising tide lifts all boats. You'd rather see Americans have money than not. And you'd rather see the AI superabundance come about, even if some people make more than others, versus not coming about at all. And so I'm not happy about today's market crash. Obviously, we don't celebrate the failures of others here at Fulcrum. But it does vindicate what I've been saying. And some people out there are busy raising families, and other people have jobs that, keep them locked into a number of responsibilities. And so they're not following like civilization, capital C civilization. They aren't following the civilization, and they aren't following the market and researching to the level that I do. And, here it's like I have no excuse. I have the time, I have the resources. So if I get something wrong, something majorly wrong, it reflects poorly on my character or poorly on my brand at minimum, right? Because it's like if I can't get this stuff right, what am I doing with my time, basically? If Fulcrum's not at the cutting edge, then what exactly am I doing with my time? But now the Dow down 1,050 points as of Monday. Heading into the lunch hour, almost noon here. 1,050 down. And this is after already devastating weeks of sell-offs. Like I said, it doesn't happen in a vertical drop, but it is happening, right? Year to date, let's see if we can bring this chart up. Go over to Google Finance. They have pretty good charts. I just want a year to date of the Dow Jones. Here we go. So year to date, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 10.4%. That's a lot. That's like recession territory. The NASDAQ since the start of the year, since January, down 18.2%. Damn. Just since January, down 18.2%. And I realize some people out there will say, this is Biden's and Trump inherited it. I'm not here to have those political arguments with listeners. Everybody's entitled to their opinion in terms of what caused this. I see the most proximal cause is that the tariffs are killing the economy. This is like someone throws you out in front of a bus and you die from the bus injuries. And then someone starts asking, well, what about your diet? You had a high cholesterol diet, right? It totally misses the point. It's like, yes, a heart attack might have killed you in 30 years, but the bus killed you today, right? And here it's like, yes, Trump inherited an economy with some issues, and you want those issues to cool off without the whole thing, grinding to a halt. But now the whole thing is ground to a halt. The absolute worst case scenario is that someone like me opens their laptop up, looks at all the companies that I'd be interested in investing in, and I just laugh. I just laugh and close my laptop back up. How can you invest in any of these companies? Or tomorrow, the Mad King will say that your industry is going to face a new tariff. Where's the science? What is this based on? What data is this shit based on? And, prosperity is a shared illusion. So part of the reason why we have so much money in the West and such a sense of prosperity is you go to the local grocery store or the local convenience store and you have no trouble buying not only toilet paper, but you have your choice of brands, right? And you go online, it's even greater choice on Amazon. You have tons of choices when it comes to toilet paper. So the reason why that is that you have a diverse supply chain and you have enough international manufacturers that there's high competition in that area. And if one company's doing a really good job of making toilet paper, another company slides in there and they keep the profit margin down, which keeps the cost to the consumer reasonable. And it also gives you selection. It's not as if one brand of toilet paper runs out of stock, you suddenly can't get toilet paper. It's plentiful, right? And so, again, the reason for that plentiful nature in everyday goods is that we have so many suppliers to choose from. And when now you can't use lumber, you can't use pulp for your toilet paper unless it's 100% American sourced pulp. What about the stuff you're getting nearly for free from Canada or Mexico, right? So now your toilet paper goes up in cost. If you can even still get it, if you can even source that much quote unquote American made toilet paper. And that's just one item. This is putting an unnecessary drag on everything. I'm starting to see comments from people online who work at regular places, like liquor stores and wine bars and movie theaters. And you could say, "Oh, that's not the real economy, Dave. People working at movie theaters and people slinging glasses of wine at wine bars. That's not the real economy." Okay. What about the stock market that's lost $12 trillion since January? No, Dave, that's not the real economy either. Okay, so what is the real economy? You MAGA geniuses. What is the real economy? You decimated the stock market. I think there will be a time to invest in American companies again, but it's not today, in my opinion, not financial advice. How do you invest in any of these high-tech companies when Trump can come down with a hammer tomorrow and completely destroy their business model? As I just outlined, even something as seemingly as simple as toilet paper or pencil is the example they usually use in economics. Nobody knows how to make a pencil, is what they say. And of course, you can reply with, "Of course I know how to make a pencil. You just wrap some graphite in a shell of hardened carved wood, and you tie it off with a little aluminum little aluminum washer, and you put a little rubber eraser at the end." Okay, well, where does the rubber come from? That comes from another country. Where does the aluminum washer comes from? Comes from another country. Where does the wood come from? Most likely comes from Canada. Where does the paint come from? The yellow paint. Where does the graphite come from? Comes from another country. Where do you get the manufacturing supplies to make the pencil? All the equipment that stamps your pencils all day. That equipment is made by other countries. You get where I'm coming from. Something as simple as a pencil, and we can't make it. And so, again, this is not an alien invasion. It's not a new pandemic. It's not another power taking us over by military force. This is one man's batshit insane tariff policy. And driving it home regardless of all external data, all external stimuli, shows that this has been a disaster. And they're saying now by July or August, we'll start to see on store shelves that things have thinned out, because that's supposedly when the supply chain disruption will be visible at the end point here in the US. So they're not shipping stuff anymore, and the burden apparently on companies that are still importing stuff is crazy. The paper burden. I thought we wanted to get rid of waste. I thought the whole Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Now there's a ton of paperwork for everything you import into the United States. And so, again, prosperity is a shared illusion. It's the sense that you can have anything at any time. But if Americans close ourselves off to anything at any time, then we can't have anything at any time. And then is our currency still going to be the reserve currency if we're shutting off the whole world like this? Why would they want our currency? Why would they want to hoard our currency to trade with us if they're no longer trading with us? One of the big use cases for the dollar is rich people as well as foreign powers stockpiling it just in case they need to do business with us. That goes away once they know with certainty they're not going to be doing business with us. Again, this is disastrous, like World War level economic harm being done by one man and his misguided advisors, the president and his yes men. And I see these nasty comments on my YouTube channel because I've done a couple of videos exploring this. I see some nasty comments on the YouTube channel, and it seems like people are just really scared. They're scared that I'm correct. And again, if I weren't right, it would make me sad about what I do, because here I have all the time in the world to analyze things. What am I doing if I'm not getting things right more often than not, And here I said gold. People said, oh, are you losing money on stocks? And I said, not at all. I've closed out of all my stock positions. It cost me money at the time, but I sleep well. And today, when the market's crashing like today, I sleep very well. So yeah, I closed out all my stocks, and as I had told you guys, I put it into a silver contract, into some leveraged silver, and then I sold that at a comfortable profit, and I put all that money into gold. Gold, Mr. Bond, gold. So I'm sitting relatively pretty, because now pretty much all I have are dollars and gold and Bitcoin. And so now the Dow is down 1,100 points. It's not even noon yet. This is a proper collapse. And again, we've had so many of these this year. This is just another step down. Right? You're watching. It's like you're watching a can of soup fall down a staircase. It's just hitting another rung. It's just falling a little bit more today. Yeah, headline though, Dow tumbles 1,000 points as Trump's Powell attacks add to investor concerns. Oh yeah, Trump's bad-mouthing the chair of the Federal Reserve. I swear it's like Trump is just trying to destroy the economy. It's like a multi-pronged attack on the U.S. economy. I don't understand it. And with the pandemic, all these sad and in retrospect, very harmful policies, like keeping children masked, even when they're at the ages where they need to learn facial expressions, right? Keeping children masked all day and in a state of fear, and the 6-foot distancing policies, all these painted circles in public places, stay within your 6-foot bubble, and all this other kind of nasty pseudoscience that was pushed on us. And if you tried to resist any of this stuff, they'd say, you're going to hurt people. It was all left coded, right? It was the left saying you have to stay 6 feet away from people, and you can't visit grandma even when she's on her deathbed. You can't visit grandma, and you got to do the social distancing, and you got to do the weird dividers at restaurants and bars that don't actually do anything to protect you, but just make your once sacred watering holes feel like some kind of cattle, some kind of cattle warehouse. All that protective stuff was nonsense. And yet, if you rose your voice or if you disagreed with any of it, the left would say, don't you want to keep people safe? You're going to hurt people. Your common sense logic is going to hurt people. Well, here it's the right that has gotten it into their head that every time every time somebody does business with us in the world that we're being violated. It's such a negative, weird, right-coded meme that will destroy the entire economy. Again, I say this not from a place of being afraid that my stocks are going to go down. I'm out of the stock market. I'm invested in gold through ETFs. So the ETFs, it's just something that sits in your brokerage account. It's not like I'm sitting on top of physical gold. So it's as safe as anything else. Again, it's just something that sits in your brokerage account. It represents a balance of gold sitting at a vault somewhere in either New York or London, depending on the ETF. Not sure what that noise is, but I'm going to have to end this recording in a second to figure that out. It's outrageous. But yeah, so, point is, I called this gold rally to a T, and I had said that gold looks like it's in a super cycle. When an asset's in a super cycle, there's more demand than there is supply. And you're seeing that now with gold. So 1 ounce of gold up to $3,436. Now $3,437. I just hit refresh. $34.37 an ounce. So we nailed that one. And yeah, when things really fall apart, nobody really wins, because I don't want to live in a world where nobody has a job and everything's scary. Nobody really wins, and the dollar would probably be worth a lot less in such a world. And so that explains the rally in gold, right? As it's the ultimate hedge against uncertainty. And the way that I analyze gold is a lot more macro and simpler than other people. Some people look at the miners, and I truly don't understand what that noise is. Give me a second here. So yeah, the way that I look at gold is very simple. It's everybody out there, do they already have the allocation of gold that they want? And I'd argue for Bitcoin, most people have heard about Bitcoin 100 times. The people who are tech savvy and who are interested in the idea of Bitcoin, most of those people already have a balance. They aren't in the market for fresh Bitcoin because they already have some. Whereas I'd argue most reasonable people in the world have no gold right now, zero allocation. And some of the family wealth offices and stuff, they might have a 1% allocation through some of the ETFs. And if they're really smart and thinking out of the box, if they're really forward thinking, maybe they have like a 5% allocation, some of these wealthy families. But for the most part, people do not have big allocations of gold, aside from the central banks run by the governments of the world. And so that creates this need, because if it takes off, it's just FOMO, same as with crypto, right? Here's an opportunity for FOMO. Same as it always was, it's still just a rare yellow metal that doesn't rust, and it makes pretty jewelry. Same thing as it always was, no new products, no exciting innovations. But in a time where nothing makes sense anymore, where it seems like the president is deep-sixing our market-based economy, when nothing makes sense, when Bitcoin itself is potentially too close to politics, right? The worst case scenario for Bitcoin is it can be outlawed in the future. That unlike gold, it doesn't have much certainty in terms of congressional legislation. And if the next president is super anti-crypto, it could undo all of the so-called progress under Trump. So I leave this one as a further vindicated individual. At least we know what we're talking about here. Gold, historic rally that nobody seems to be talking about or noticing, but historic rally which shows me the world is not confident in Trump's saber rattling, his economic saber rattling. How do you invest in any of these companies not knowing what tomorrow looks like?